Good morning, everybody. You're tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next hour, along with Gal.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. And Katie's here.
Morning.
Morning. Nick and Spence are not going to be with us today. As far as I know, they have other plans. Um, our number is 561 518 9773. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. Gal, did you notice that message that came up on the screen?
I clicked something. I clicked the AI companion. I'm going to ask again. This time,
Do it. I
approve
mean,
it.
so I should say,
Yeah.
I can say, turn on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's,
I thought
I'd like
something
to
happened
see.
here
Yeah.
because,
Yeah. So Zoom has an AI companion built in.
yeah.
And what it does, uh, I've used it at work a couple of times, and it's very, very interesting.
Okay. What
It
does it do?
First of all, it tracks everything we work. If you were to, I know you can't see it because the screen is a bit further from you.
Yeah.
But if you activate captions, then anything we say is automatically displayed. And so,
Oh, I would love to do that.
yeah, so that's one part. Yeah, I don't know how you can record it though. We need to see how that works. And so that's one part, and the other part at the end of the show, it will summarize it for you.
Okay.
so so then you can just take that summary and slap it on the video description, for example, in YouTube. That It can be
Yeah.
interesting.
Where did
So
okay,
yeah.
okay, let's back up a little bit. What do you mean I
Yeah.
don't know if you can record it? What's being recorded
No,
is
what you want it to be on the screen. For me, for example, it doesn't superimpose on the image. So I don't know if you
oh,
can set it that it'll be on the image and you can record it
where
properly and all
where
that.
does it show it for you? On a separate
The
window?
No, it's superimposed on the image, but I think it'll be too distracting if it'll show up
Okay.
on your end. We need to
Okay, we need to
experiment
try
before
it.
we
Yeah,
enable it.
because none of the
Yeah.
other solutions that I tried before and a few of our audience always ask for, why don't you have it? And there are some solutions like this. I mean,
Yeah.
I know that Facebook will do it for you, but it's kind of delayed and it's not, nothing is accurate. I'm
Well,
wondering how
here it's
this,
delayed by a second or two, but it's enough for keeping track, especially if what did they say? What did they say?
yeah.
Okay, that's what it said. So, yeah, I use it in meetings, in large meetings, also to because it it has the icon of who's ever talking. So, like for when I'm talking, it'll say GS, and when you're talking, it'll show the logo that you've
And
uploaded.
Zoom does not have the facility to move it and put it at a certain
I
place.
do not know.
You don't
Well,
know yet.
looks like
Okay,
it's
we
draggable.
need to
I
try it.
dragged it. Let's see if
Okay,
it sticks wherever it's.
okay.
Yeah, looks like it stays wherever I want, but it's still rather small. I don't know how it'll show up in your. It's interesting. It's
Yeah,
worth
it's worth looking
checking.
into.
Yeah, after the show, we can
Yeah.
look into it.
All right. So, what's been happening this week?
I don't have anything exciting.
Really?
Yeah, just chilling. Just doing work.
Chilling
3D
is good.
printing.
Chilling is good.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
I had a very geeky, techie,
oh
like
yeah.
proud moment at work this week. I do tech support for they call it AI platform. It's called Vast Data. I work for them. Have been working for them since February, so it's a new job for me. and I'm learning a lot and all that. But this week, I got to help out internally, just not a customer, not part of the job description, just based on my love for tech and everything that I know about, the stuff that I talk about here: ZFS file system, Linux, Docker, containers, VMs, all that stuff. So it's the end of the day. The infrastructure guys, they're already out the office. I'm still working. We work globally. There's a huge group in West Coast. There's a very large group in East Coast, and the main development and infrastructure is all in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's late in the day. That means that only the West Coast people, some APAC that have started to wake up, and those who are at the end of the day on the East Coast are there, and another team, completely different team. They're struggling with their internal system. Something went bonkers. They think it's storage. The database isn't loading, etc. Blah blah blah. So I hop on. They reach out over Slack. Anybody can help. And I hop on, and I see a good friend, Proxmox, with ZFS file systems, like in immediately a familiar environment, and they explain what's been happening, and suddenly it stopped working, and I see, yeah, oh yeah, I can definitely help. Take a look at the system, identify what can be removed, like a snapshot or something, remove that. I say, okay, now we need to start up all of the VMs correctly, find the procedure. It took probably 30 minutes, but in that 30 minutes, their system came back on. Now I felt proud.
Of course.
This wasn't a customer. This wasn't part of my work, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not anything that been expected to me, but this was a lot more fun than anything else that I'm doing. So it was, yeah, it was like a good story, a good nerdy story.
Very nice. We're proud of you too.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
that's what I'm
saved the
doing
day.
now, right? I'm clearing up my old snapshots from my storage because I need some space. It's exactly what I'm doing and exactly what I did before work.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Very nice.
yeah,
Yeah. See, folks, this is what it is. If you're going to hire somebody, you need to hire somebody who can do more than just their job
oh
when
yeah,
needed.
that's always.
Very nice. All right. Let's talk about this. This is an interesting story. The Department of Homeland Security is concerned about the rate at which outlawed signal jamming devices are being found across the U.S. In a warning issued, it says it has seen an 830% increase in seizures of these signal jammers since 2021, specifically those made in China. Signal jamming devices are outlawed in the US mainly because they can interfere with communications between emergency services and law enforcement. While the Communication Act of 1934 effectively prohibits such devices, signal jammers of the type DHS is concerned about have only circulated in the last 20 to 30 years. Authorities have paid special attention to relay attack devices in recent years, the type of hardware that can be used to clone signals used by systems such as remote car keys, although the first examples of these devices date back to the 80s. The signal jammers that most of us in the early days have encountered, and you may not even know that that's what it was, big stores used to use them. So, because people would go to a store and price an item and then go and
Compare
see
online.
online,
Yeah.
and then you go and search for it in other stores and see who's got it cheapest, and you go and get it there.
Yeah.
So they used SignalJammers, and you would go into a store and you couldn't get on the internet. And a lot of people thought it's just because I'm in a
In a crappy reception area.
So this was one thing. There were other things where people, I mean, residents would use it when they thought that the neighbor's internet is bothering them. I mean, they bought it and they used it. It normally backfired because it also jammed them.
So exactly.
But I guess there were some that were weaker or whatever, and when you were right there at, or if you're metered, I mean not meter, hardwired, it can work. Anyway, it it can create a lot of problems for law enforcement and for first responders. So that's why it was outlawed. So apparently there's a lot of them being used now.
I
Uh,
saw actually a big resurgence of people capturing thieves on their Ring camera trying to get the signal for their remote start cars.
mhm.
Like somebody posted a video on TikTok and they were like, "There's this guy and he had like a tablet in one hand and then a big black rectangular." The person said like a shovel, and it wasn't as long as a shovel, but it was basically, I guess, an antenna, and
Yeah.
he was walking around the car in their front door and, like, just, I don't know, surveying, and the person uploaded it, and they were like, "What is this guy doing?" And they said, "Oh, he's trying to copy your car key fob or whatever, to remote start it so he can steal the car." Uh, so I don't know how you stop things like that. Like, how do you stop if you have a remote start card, stop people from copying the key fob?
Well, it
The-
shouldn't work by just listening in because it's a conversation. And so
it's a
the key
starting
fob,
it's a
yeah,
starting point though.
well, yes and no. It's a conversation in terms of identification. It's the same way that nobody should be able to listen to your HTTPS connection. The reason nobody can do that is because at the initiation of the connection, you're exchanging secrets, right? That are going to encrypt the next communication. And based on the public identity of those secrets, only the source, the real source, can encrypt. And so, in order to in order to fake that, you might be able one time to listen in and play the role of the car, maybe, right? Uh, but even whatever you got would not be good enough in order to communicate with the car itself. So it's not that simple, unless it's of an old fob, an old technology. But it's not just a send message. There's actually a conversation, a back and forth conversation to prevent that exactly. That's the way you prevent it, by the way. You prevent it by making the communication secure, making
So
sure that no man in the middle can listen in.
so if I have if I get a new car, like maybe it's around the 5-year-old mark, then people shouldn't be able to just copy the key fob signal and start the car and take off.
That should be the case. The only exception would be if somebody has stolen. Let's say you have a Ford and they've stolen the database and they can impersonate the car completely, right? That can be a risk because then they can listen in, play the part of that car while connecting to the fob. The thing is, they'll still need the fob to activate these sequences. They can't guess, right? So just listening in with a large device trying to copy the fob, that's not good enough anyway.
So maybe they're just doing it to break into the car without actually breaking into the car.
I
Maybe?
mean, maybe, I don't know. I would guess that just using a huge magnet would somehow mess some of the relays, and that's probably what they're trying. They're trying just to affect the physical relays more than anything else. That would be the easiest thing to do, by the way, right? And I'm guessing that for some cars it'll work, for some it won't.
Yeah, that's what manufacturers always struggle with to make it safer and safer. And
Yeah.
but it's a
I
cat
mean,
and mouse game.
just remember that most of our doors, right? Most of the locks on our doors, they can be opened with 2 pins,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
It's like
Yeah, and charge you
security.
$180 to get into your house when you lock yourself out.
Exactly. It's mostly a psychological effect than anything else, right? Locking and unlocking. Um, it's a social contract. The door is locked, then you don't come in. You can. I mean, most of the houses in the neighborhood that I live has more windows than walls, right? All you need to do is just push the window in, and you're in. It's not really hard to get in. It's locks in general uh, are just a social contract more than anything else. So the same goes here for cars, but because we are living in more complex times where just the breaking in can be so hidden after the fact that yeah, it's starting to become more and more complex, especially when somebody can do it across the country, right?
Yep. Yep.
That would be so. If you're going to buy a car, right? Like one of the things that I don't think I'll ever want, uh, unless I understood completely how the technology works, is to be able to start the car from my phone, because that means it goes out to a server somewhere that then sends a signal somewhere, right? Because it's not a Wi-Fi connection between me and the car. So that would be something I'll be concerned about, like not letting any software to activate the car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you start it from your fob, then it's direct. Uh-oh, we lost you.
Huh? Oh, we can't hear you, Gal. Your audio's down.
How about now?
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so one thing with Tesla, right? Tesla, you get a app and you literally control the car from the app. One of the features is calling the car to come to you from the parking lot.
Oh my god.
Right? Now, think about hacking that,
That's a disaster waiting to happen.
right? This is like, yeah, you can definitely think about a Hollywoodian dystopian reality where suddenly the cars attack their owners, right? Because somebody's controlling them from afar. So
Mhm.
yeah, there's definitely concern.
That means you can call the car also from another city.
Well, I mean, they limit it, right? The software is built to do it only.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it'll, at this point, I don't think the car will go on the road on its own, right? But as long as it sees on the map that it's a parking lot and the distance is close, it'll probably do it. But it's like,
Hopefully.
okay,
Yeah.
I like the feature, I like the technology, I like the idea, but I'm really concerned about how this can be hacked.
Yeah. All right. Brazil's Supreme Court has ruled that social media platforms can be held legally responsible for the user's posts. Companies such as Facebook, TikTok, and X will have to act immediately to remove materials such as hate speech, incitement to violence, or anti democratic acts, even without a prior judicial takedown order. As a result of the decision in Latin America, largest nation, late on Thursday. So they're doing something about this. Um, I personally I don't see anything wrong with that.
The only question is, if they're policing it, what do they decide
Well,
is good or bad?
it doesn't matter. I mean, this is error on the side of caution kind of thing. I mean, you see something and a person says, "Well, this is hate speech. Take it down." Now, start uh investigating and see. If they
Mm,
find out no, it's not, put it back
yeah.
versus leaving it there and investigating it and 2 days later saying, "Oh yeah, it is. Let's take it down." Meanwhile, it's been there.
It makes me think of YouTube's problems though, because when on YouTube, I'm not talking about hate speech. I'm just talking about the process of reporting something,
Yeah,
and then it automatically takes it down, and then it takes forever. I mean, you deal with it all the
yeah,
time,
yeah,
so I know um that there's bad actors where, like, you'll upload a video and technically it's fine, like, you have the proof and everything, you've dealt with that, and then somebody's like, "Oh, nope, this is wrong," and then YouTube error on the side of caution and take it down, and then you have to fight with them for a week to get it back up, and meanwhile, if you were monetized, you don't get paid that whole time.
yeah. That's true.
So that's my only concern. On the surface, yes, I do like the thought of if it's actual hate speech, getting it down right away. But that what the problem that leads to is the YouTube problem where people can, if they don't like what you're saying and you're technically not hate speech, they could just automatically just report it because they're frustrated. And it gives the reporter all of the power if they automatically do it. And I don't know what the
So
solution is, but we see that with YouTube.
so there's this shows some lack of understanding, not yours, the legislator, right? There is zero problem with the video being there. Like I'm saying that complete, like the video can be a snuff film, the video can be a porn flick. There is zero problem with the video being there. The real problem, though, is how do people get to it, right? And when you're talking about freedom of speech, is okay, let the video be there. The part that affects freedom of speech is the reason you are being served the video in the first place. Most people, right? They either they get to it through some sort of social media blast, right? Some sort of interaction that um, that would I say it, that was fed to them because the algorithm, and the algorithm here is what is making the decision, right? The algorithm knows that if it'll show you this, you're going to stick around, you're going to continue consuming, right? Whether it's going to enrage you or whether it's going to soothe you or whether it's going to uh, uh, this is almost certainly going to one engage you, like you keep your face stuck in the app, in the site, on the content, and two, it's gonna make you share it. And when those two are the only parameters that matter, for that algorithm, that is where trouble starts. So it's not me caring that Facebook is liable that the video is on their platform. I have no problem with the fact that they've allowed somebody to upload a video there. The problem is they are making they want that video there because this is the reason this is going viral is because their algorithm chose to promote it, chose to make it as visible as possible because this is engaging people. That is the curation part. That is what if you've heard anything Nick ever said on this show, right? This is his gospel. This is what he repeats again and again and again. This is the part where a website like Facebook becomes the editor, not just the
Right.
publisher,
Right.
right? And that's the thing. That's where they are liable. Why is this being promoted? Why is this getting 1 million views a second? Right? That's where they control. Think about it, Katie. The only reason, right, your business on TikTok is booming, and I'm talking at the initial part, right? You did not have a lot of followers at that point. You did not have, but something you did, right, right at the start, piqued interest. And that peak of interest, the algorithm knows now, okay, this peak of interest is going to be beneficial to who? Not to Katie. They don't
To
care about
TikTok.
Katie.
Yeah.
To TikTok. They're gonna stick around and they want to see more of this. And not only that, oh, look, Katie is posting a video every day, right? And that's good. So I'm going to send those guys who interacted with this stuff from Katie again and again and again. Now, today we know for sure, especially with the way we have access to LLMs, we know that these companies, they have a way of understanding rather quickly of what's being discussed in there. Who are the people and that are interacting and what do they discuss usually, right? And so the editing capabilities they have exists. We're no longer at the realm of, oh, this is technologically impossible to track. No, it's very easy to track. If everybody that interacts with your video is a white supremacist Nazi, then your video is probably made for white supremacy Nazis, right? It's very easy to detect that. The profiling is already being done. So taking the load off these content streamers, right, and saying it's not their fault that somebody is posting something bad on them. It's true about the posting. It's not true about the promoting. And that's what's being missed in the legislation. Because nobody is discussing that aspect. Everybody's focused about whether it's the right to show it or not. It's not about showing, it's about promoting. It's about making things very, very easily available. And not only that, is literally telling you, hey, did you see this? So I think that's the discussion isn't even happening in the legislation because the legislation doesn't even understand this at this point.
And I see a way that could make it a little more, I mean, since this is a law there, that could make it more robust. You have to go online and file a complaint. I think, and they're already running their algorithm, their checkers on videos randomly. So if I go and I said this Katie's video is hate crime, hate speech, and at the end, when you submit it, it should trigger the checker to go and look at that video and decide also. So if you see that somebody said it was, and the video and the checker agrees that yes, it is, then you can take it down and notify the poster. At least this way, you don't. I mean, people cannot just because hey, I want to prank Katie, and I'm saying hey, it's bad, and they take it down. It's another layer that kind of helps, but they're doing it anyway. If they decide that it is, they take it down.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I have faith like you
Well, I mean,
in such a system, but yeah, I
you have
mean,
to
it might
start.
be better.
You have to
Yeah, it
start
might be
somewhere,
better.
right? And maybe this way that they say, okay, they will have to take it down. That will start something, and Facebook and TikTok and those will come up and say, hey, look, this is how it should work, though. If we should do this, A, B, and C, and we can do this and that and the other. And it will
I
tweak the law, not the law, the execution of the enforcement will be tweaked to make it as
look, even if we
fair.
were not talking about even if we were not talking about algorithms, right?
Mhm.
Even if we were talking about YouTube having drones and drones and drones of people,
Right.
right? 10,000 people looking at content and reacting to comments, just in the States, okay?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and it would still be flawed. It will
Eh,
still make them, that would actually make them the editor in chief, right?
well,
Because
they
you'll
are
say, yeah,
anyway.
those people are making decisions.
But they are
So,
anyway.
but that's the thing. The only thing that is throwing the legislation off here is people are not making the decisions, the computer is. And that's the lie. It's not the computer, it's the data set fed to the
Right.
LLM, to the AI that is making the decision, to the whatever way, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And we now finally are in the stage where it is clear that when we're talking about a computer making a decision, it is all based on the information that was fed to it, right? We can no longer hide behind a glitch. We can no longer hide behind, oh, the computer is slow.
Right.
Somebody is making it slow. Somebody is doing something. It's not accidental. It's not unpredictable. It's not, this isn't a single occurrence. Prove to me that it's a single occurrence, then maybe we can talk, right? But it's systematic,
Yeah.
it's ingrained, and it's problematic. And just, just saying, oh, um, that's too bad, right? That's not enough.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. What's the next thing here? Oh, Microsoft will offer free Windows 10 security updates through October 2026 to consumers who enable Windows backup or spend 1,000 Microsoft reward points. I'm not familiar with Microsoft reward points. The company announced. The move provides alternatives to the previously announced $30 per PC extended security update program for individuals wanting to continue using Windows 10 past its October 14, 2025 end of support date. The
You
company will,
said
huh?
you said a Windows backup.
Yeah, if you know how it always set a backup. There's
But that,
there.
is that to OneDrive?
I have no idea. I never set up a Windows backup.
Yeah, I've never played with it at all.
The company
Yeah,
will
I think
notify.
it's to OneDrive.
Okay, so the company
Okay.
will notify Windows 10 users about the ESU program through the Settings app and notifications starting in July, with full rollout by mid-August. Both free options require a Microsoft account.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get everybody to go to a Microsoft account also, which the
Look,
company has increasingly pushed in Windows 11. Business and organizational customers can still purchase up to 3 years of ESU updates but must pay for the service.
yeah.
Windows 10,
Which will require a Microsoft account.
of course. Windows 10 remains installed on 53% of Windows PC worldwide, according to StatCounter data. So, I mean, Windows backup, if it's like any other backup program, I guess you could choose what you want to back up. So if that's all,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, to be fair,
yeah,
I'm not mad, right?
no, why?
Makes total sense to me. I would upgrade because it'll be cheaper for me, right?
Yeah,
And it's a no-brainer. So I know that some are still requiring Windows 10 or are just do not want to go through the hassle of upgrade.
yeah. Oh,
I
or
mean, the fact that they're getting an out that will mean, okay, I just need to register to Microsoft.
yeah,
And I mean, Windows backup sounds like a good idea,
yeah,
but it also means if you're backing up to something else, you'll need to switch.
yeah.
I mean, Microsoft, it's fine. The OS has been around for how long?
Long.
Right. And so they found a way to actually make some money out of it. And look, it's not just about making money because I think we do agree that this particular influx of income is not going to be substantial. Even though we are talking about a lot of machines, it's still not going to be substantial because comparing to the other business they're doing,
Right.
it's peanuts, right? So it's not about that, but it's about being able to measure how Windows is used, how Windows 10 is used, right? And being able to, just because those who will opt in, they're also opting in with data, not just money, right? Then it means, okay, then at least we can understand how we can easily move these forward. Eventually, Microsoft wants to stay the number one OS provider for consumers, right? So this is how they're doing it, and I think this particular step, compared to most other steps that they've suggested up to now, is actually a smart one.
Oh,
Now you were asking about the rewards. Rewards, if
yeah.
you are registered with a Microsoft account and you use stuff like Bing or Xbox, you're collecting rewards
Oh,
all the time.
yeah,
So
that's right.
they're yeah. So yeah, and that's also a nice option. It's like, hey, if you've been using us and you're and you're a fan, right? And you're like a loyal user, yeah, we'll give you another couple of years. It's a good plan.
Oh, it's interesting. It could be a way for them to extend it while not backing it off of, hey, we're going to
Right.
end.
It's
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, they get to measure
sure.
the viability of this business plan, right?
Yep.
It's more than just throwing a rock and seeing if it sticks, right? So it's
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a good plan. It took them 5 iterations, I think, to of changes to this plan, but eventually they got there.
Yep. So look into it. I mean, you're going to get notifications anyway if you're using Windows 10.
Yeah.
This is something that you will be interested in. Yeah, also Silo, a new privacy focused. Oh, it's an iOS browser by Mysk, MYSK. aims to defeat digital fingerprinting by isolating each browser tab with its own IP address. Unique fingerprinting defenses and proxy based encryption, Silo stands out as it is the only WebKit based iOS browser that truly isolate tabs. It's not only about separate storage and cookies. Silo goes beyond that. That's a
Yeah,
very it's interesting.
it won't work.
Why?
Um, because it means that it's using some sort of proxy to Silo. That means it's easily blocked, right? Because you need to work through Silo. How else will you get new IPs?
I mean, if you're using, I don't
You
know
have only
how.
one IP going
No,
out of them
well,
of your
no,
home.
not entirely true. If you have an IPv6, you have thousands of IPs
Yeah, but
locally.
most sites don't support
Yeah,
IPv6 yet.
that's true.
So
Yeah,
it's yeah, but this is
yeah,
just
yeah.
use our VPN. We'll log you. We'll fingerprint you, but nobody else will be able to. Yeah,
Okay. All right.
I will not use that.
Okay.
Well, I
All
will
right.
not use that because it's an iOS thing. But
Yeah,
I
that
think
I
we've
didn't.
already understood that Apple in general has created, how should I say that? I don't want to offend anybody because it's not about the people. It's about the way Apple treats their people, their users. But it has created um, a, a section of the population that believes that if it's on an iOS, it's safe. Okay.
Right. Yeah, they
Okay.
and they
Let's put
truly
it that way.
believe that.
And that's a lie, right?
Right.
That's complete hogwash.
Yeah.
So yeah, when it comes to, there's a reason technology like that will start on something like iOS, because the users there are susceptible to the message more than in other platforms.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Androids are smarter, Android users are smarter, but it's just on the iOS, it's a lot easier to sell something like this.
Yeah.
There's a larger audience for that specific thing, even though it's a smaller audience than, let's say, everything Android, right? Because Android is more available than iOS. So yeah.
All right. All right. Next, Microsoft has changed how Windows 11 manages system restore points after its June 2025 security update. The update says that starting with Windows 11 version 24H2, system restore points will be kept for up to 60 days.
Okay,
After 60 days, restore points older than 60 days will no longer be available for use.
that's good. That means more space, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, if you want to go back 6 months because you realize you had a
Why?
virus for a long time,
Then that's another problem, right?
yeah, right. I know.
Yeah.
The change does not change the way restore points are created or used. Um, it only sets a clear time limit for how long they are stored.
Yeah.
Windows will still delete older restore points if the allocated disk space fills up. But now there is a firm upper limit of 60 days, regardless of available space.
Right. It used to be only about available space. Now it'll just clean up. That's
Yeah.
good. That's actually good. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean, let's be frank. If you're updating regularly, right, it means that at least once a month there's a batch of Windows updates that you're applying and a restore point. So 60 days should give you two such restore points in the minimum. And that's if you if you've installed a driver or installed, you get
That gives you enough
another
time.
restore
Yeah.
point. So yeah, it's frequent enough.
Yeah.
And restore point is not a backup; it's a
Right.
system state, right?
Yeah.
Because data isn't lost when you're restoring a restore point. So yeah.
Yeah. I never seen this, never heard of this, but Apple has quietly removed its day-old the parent presentation video from YouTube. The
Oh yeah.
you heard about this?
The what's the last something?
No, no, no. The parents presentation is a customizable slideshow that explains why a Mac is a useful tool in college. So they made a video and they said, show this to your parents and tell them you want to get a Mac. That's what they did. That's what people were saying. Students can customize the presentation slides and then show it to the parents to convince them to buy them a Mac. In an accompanying YouTube video shared by Apple, comedian Martin Herlihy showed a group of high school students how to effectively use the parent presentation. Some users describe the ad as cringe and gross.
People do not like to be sold to. Like, if this is what companies don't understand about social media is that if you're trying to sell a product on social media by being like a salesman, you're gonna be cringe and nobody's gonna like it. The companies that do it well are like Wendy's and Nutter Butter, where their social media stuff is unhinged. Like they're not. I mean, at the end of the day, they are trying to sell their product, but when they're on social media, they're like making memes or they're responding to things that that don't have to do anything with fast food or food. They're just interacting and making crazy stuff and just throwing it out there. And that's what people like. That's what kids like. And when I say kids, I mean Gen Z and the people that they're trying to target. Like if you make a video that's like, "Oh, buy our product. This is great. Here's how to get your parents to buy this for you." It's just no, never works.
So they took it down after one day.
Yeah, they obviously didn't consult with somebody that is in touch with reality.
Well,
They could have called me and be like, "Hey, should we make this video?" And I'd be like, "No, absolutely not."
and the U.S. House Chief Administrative Officer has banned WhatsApp from congressional staffers' government devices, citing data vulnerability concern. The Cybersecurity Office deemed the messaging app high risk due to lack of transparency in data protection, absence of stored data encryption, and potential security risks, according to an email obtained by Axios. Staff cannot download or keep WhatsApp on any house device, including mobile, desktop, or web browser versions.
I say good, but just why targeting only TikTok? What about YouTube? What about Facebook? What
It's got
about
nothing to do with TikTok. It's got to do with WhatsApp.
WhatsApp? Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
they don't want
I thought
WhatsApp.
it
Yeah,
was another
sorry,
TikTok
no.
one, but it's the same.
Yeah,
What about all of those?
yeah, right.
By the way, is Signal allowed?
I guess.
Remember the big deal with Signal?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's yeah, they don't mention
That was
that.
funny. Yeah.
They say WhatsApp. Um, now some
Interesting. They didn't ban Facebook Messenger. It's basically the same, run by the same guys.
interesting.
Yeah.
So Microsoft is planning to axe thousands of jobs, particularly in sales, as part of the company's latest move to trim workforce amid heavy spending on AI. So thousands
Sales?
of jobs still.
Interesting.
That's not.
I'm trying to think which salesman exactly they're axing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Because the salesman is the one who's telling you that you can fire other people and replace them with AI,
The
right?
sales managers.
The salespeople. That's what they're doing, right?
Oh,
They're going into companies and saying, "Why don't you try our AI stuff? You can
I see
reduce
what you mean.
you can reduce cost, right?"
Yeah.
And they are the ones who are selling the vision that it's possible. Because after you ask the people and fire them and incorporate AI, thinking that this is going to be a good idea, that is when you realize, oh, but I need people to manage this as AI
Right.
because it's making a lot of mistakes, right?
Yep.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
AI is the LLMs, these agents, right? It's like a very very enthusiastic, very enthusiastic employee who is an idiot, and they don't know that they're an idiot, right?
I always say AI is the intern.
Yeah, probably, yeah, because it doesn't really tell you no. It doesn't. It tries to it tries to mess its way up. Because its its goal is to please you and give you what you want, right? And that's not you can't use that. Not really, because it would rather produce something pleasing instead of something accurate. And yeah, and we're not even close there.
All right. 7 people have now received Neuralink's N1 brain implant, which enables individuals with ALS or spinal cord injuries to control a computer with their thoughts. That's coming
That's
from
awesome.
PC Magazine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to get one of them.
I
Yeah.
remember when I was in elementary school and personal home computers were being more accessible and like more affordable for families or whatever because we just got like a Dell computer or something. Anyways, I remember when I was in elementary school, I used to be like, man, why can't I just download this information into my brain? It's like we have all these computers, why can't we just download it? And I remember daydreaming about that.
Well, you
Yeah.
Okay.
are. When you're downloading and looking at it, it goes into your brains.
No, it doesn't stay.
Well, yeah.
It goes into the memory cache, and then as soon as I look away, it refreshes and gets deleted.
Okay. Oh. Um, Here's some news for you, Comcast customers. Comcast is introducing new, simplified, contract free broadband plans that eliminate its unpopular 1.2 terabyte data cap for residential customers. People always complain about the data caps that Comcast has. So apparently now they're doing away with it. We don't have Comcast in our area. So,
I wonder if those complaints are, well, yeah, I mean, with video streaming services today, yeah, there are people who reach that. Yeah,
yeah, I remember one
interesting.
time when I think it was AT&T. They had a cap of 4 terabytes. And but they give you also a report of how much you used.
Mm.
And it was getting to like about 3 terabytes, 3.2 terabytes, 2.9 terabyte, but I never went over. Maybe it was the day of Spectrum, not AT&T. I don't remember which one of them. It was interesting how much we can use. That's I don't. Did you notice? Did you? Oh no, this is not now. Microsoft revealed earlier this year that it was overhauling its blue screen of death error message in Windows 11. And the company has now confirmed that it will soon be known as the black screen of death. So it's still BSOD.
Huh.
The
I
new,
think I'd prefer for blue over black. Because a blue or black will make me think that my monitor just turned off.
oh no, wait. The new design drops the traditional blue color, frowning face, and QR code in favor of a simplified black screen. The company will roll it in an update to Windows 11 later this summer. But they said that they will give you information about really what happened
Oh,
on that
Yeah.
black screen, which is great.
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, that's
I'll
really
believe
good.
it when I see it.
Well, yeah, I guess we'll have
The
to wait
reason you
and see.
get to a black screen is because something unexpected happened. So
Yeah.
it's not like
I don't know. I mean, apparently they were talking about the fact that today the IT department will have to pull up all kind of logs and stuff and try to figure
True.
out, and this will show you right on the screen.
Yeah, but
What?
for that you need an active system.
Yeah, I mean,
Something in the logic here fails, right? So that means that if you're making a very complex analysis system to tell you what is wrong with your system, you need a system to
tell
work.
you that. Yeah,
Exactly.
true.
So what will happen was this very high tech LLM based system fails. Something doesn't track. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
The whole idea of this error is that it shouldn't happen.
Right.
So I would rather have something very simple, and yes, go and maybe after the fact, when you boot again and you load, you'll have a mechanism that will tell you, looks like this is what happened when it broke. But while it's happening, yeah, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. Well, we'll wait and see. I mean, which
Yeah.
brings up a point. Ever since I used that HP server, which is not the one like you were using, but it's a 6600, I believe. It's a lower.
Okay.
2-3 times a month I would get a blue screen of death. Every time I try to use Signal or Beeper or any of those that work web-based also, I will get a blue screen of death. So I
It sounds
stopped
like
using.
encryption, maybe.
I stopped using that, and now that server crapped out and I'm using a different machine, it doesn't happen anymore. I'm using the same drive. I just took the drives that were on the old machine and put them in the new machine.
Yeah, probably something in the processor that it was hitting, and
Well, uh, it had 2 Xeons on the other one. This one just has one i7. So I don't know. I mean, all the tests that I ran show the memory was. They never showed any errors when you run memory. I mean tests.
I
On the
don't think it's a
PC.
problem with the memory.
Yeah.
I think it's a problem with specific
Right.
sets of instructions,
Which it couldn't find.
which
Yeah.
it couldn't deal with. It's
Yeah.
something broke. Yeah.
Obviously, yeah. All right. Anything else, guys?
Nope.
Nope.
Nothing, Katie?
Nah,
Are you printing a lot or you're not?
I am because I'm
Good.
preparing for GalaxyCon at the end of July. In fact, I'm going to be very, very busy these
Good.
next weekends leading up to it.
Good. This kind of busy is great.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Did you print any stickers?
No, but I did print small stuff that was like $5. So I'm targeting that demographic of somebody that wants to spend money but cheap. And then also too, you have to think about that there's a psychological thing when so you go to the bank and when you take out money, it gives you in $20 bills, right? And so when somebody is going to buy something, it's psychologically it's easier for you to get their money if the item is worth that $20 because they'll just hand over one piece of paper essentially and they're like, okay, because that's what that psychologically that's what the people were doing is that they were like, oh, I just want to give you this $20, but it needs to be worth it. And they had their sale of a bunch of stickers for up to $20. So I'm like, okay, so if I print a bunch of little stuff and the value of it makes it worth for the $20, then the people that have that just want to hand over the 20 bank note and make it efficient, they could just be like here, and they're more likely to do it. And then when you go
So
over the $20, that's when people are less likely to do it because they have to give more of like the 2 bank notes, if that makes sense.
so you're saying you need to price them at $7 and give them 4 for 5. 4
Yeah,
for 20, sorry.
essentially, like it's like psychologically, I need to make it a deal, and it needs to be convenient for them. So them handing over one $20 bill, they're like good, because
So remember, $7, 4 for 20.
Yep, $7 4 for 20.
Oh. All right.
That's a good point. That's an excellent point. It tracks like completely as a consumer, right?
Oh yeah, I
say,
do the same thing.
yeah,
Like when I
yeah.
go and I get money from the bank and they give me $20 bills, and I'm like, yeah, I'll give this artist that I want to support $20, but it's got to be worth it and it's got to be easy and convenient.
Interesting. Well, it's that time of day, and we're going to go do other stuff now. Thanks, Katie. Thanks, Gal. And Nick, say hi to the folks. Spence, if you're listening, good morning. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Dana, Dina, Mati, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov and Yael, Uti, if you're listening. Thank you for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive, update your virus scanner, and change any same passwords that you're using anywhere. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Monday through Friday, 5 to 6 a.m., Nick hosts the Carolina Journal News Hour on WBT 1110 a.m. and 99.3 FM in Charlotte. And it's on YouTube. So just go to YouTube and search for the Carolina Journal News Hour. Nick also hosts his daily show, the Nick Craig Show. Just go to nickcraig.com and get the details. That's from 7 till 8 in the morning. And Nick and Brian host the Infection podcast for gamers, survival games, and general gaming news on Twitch. Go to infectionpodcast.com and get the detail when is the live show that week. But you can always download the podcast and listen to it at your leisure. Again, have a great week, and we'll be together again next week. Bye-bye.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.